Before phones, before the internet, before even the idea of wires, there was one method of communication that seemed impossible. They used birds, real birds, to send real messages. And it worked. Have you ever sent a text and watched the three dots? Just waiting? Now imagine having to trust a bird flying over storms, across battlefields, over mountains to carry your message. No GPS, no battery, just wings and instinct. It sounds like myth, but for thousands of years, civilizations relied on this system to survive, to fight wars, to save lives. The bird, the homing pigeon. Ancient Persians were among the first to discover their gift. These birds possess an incredible, still not fully understood ability. No matter where they're taken, they can find their way back home. The trick was simple but brilliant. People would raise pigeons at one location, then carry them elsewhere. When it was time to send a message, they'd attach it to the bird and release it. And these weren't just love letters or poetry. These were battlefield strategies, political orders, life or death information. The Romans used pigeons to relay messages across their empire. Genghis Khan had an entire communication network that included pigeons. Even in World War I and II, homing pigeons saved lives, some awarded medals for their service. One bird named Cher-Ami delivered a message that saved nearly 200 American soldiers trapped behind enemy lines. Shot through the chest, one leg hanging by a tendon, she still flew 25 miles in under 30 minutes. When the message was found, help was sent. Those men survived because of her, but how did they train them? It wasn't magic, it was memory and instinct. Pigeons are loyal to their home. They're fed and raised in one place, and they memorize the landscape, the sky, the magnetic fields. Take them far away, and they still know how to get back. Trainers used a system of loft-specific pigeon houses to organize delivery routes. Some cities even built pigeon towers with hundreds of birds for public messaging. This wasn't just primitive communication. It was strategic. In many cases, pigeons were faster and more secure than human couriers. They couldn't be bribed. They flew over enemy lines. They delivered critical intel that changed the course of history. We tend to think of older societies as simple. But imagine trusting a creature to fly across 100 miles with your most urgent words. That takes faith, patience, and genius-level planning. Today, we swipe, tap, and forget. But once people look to the sky, not the screen, for connection. If this amazed you, hit that like button and let us know in the comments, would you trust a bird to deliver your message today? Could you live like they did? Don't forget to subscribe to The Forgotten Path, because sometimes the oldest ideas were the smartest all along. The oldest advertisements ever. How did they work? Look around. Almost everywhere you go, there's advertising. Logos on buildings, faces on t-shirts, jingles in your head. But the first ads were nothing like the ones we know. So here's a look at the very first advertisements ever made. Before printing presses or even paper, convincing people to buy things was a lot harder. There were no viral ads or late-night infomercials. You either had a really good product or you didn't. But as trade routes expanded and new products entered villages, people needed a way to convince others that what they were selling was worth the money. Egyptians were some of the first to solve this problem. Their solution: wall paintings. As early as 2000 BCE, Egyptians advertised their wares with huge, colorful pictures on public walls. These images usually showed the product being sold, so people passing by would know right away what was being advertised. A baker might show loaves of bread, a jeweler might show off a necklace, or a wig maker might display elaborate hairstyles. These ads were effective, but they had two big problems. One, they were expensive to make. Having a giant painting created took a lot of money, so only the richest merchants could afford them. And two, they weren't very detailed. Paintings couldn't show off every feature or benefit of a product, so customers might not have gotten the full picture. But Egyptians weren't the only ones hawking their wares. Across the world in ancient Greece, playwrights were starting to capitalize on the masses. With theater now a popular form of entertainment, playwrights began sprinkling their scripts with plugs for local businesses. A winemaker might pay a playwright to mention their brand in a scene, or a tailor might sponsor an entire production. This worked pretty well. After all, if a playwright could fill a stadium, they were likely talking to hundreds, maybe even thousands of potential customers. But again, this method had its drawbacks. Playwrights weren't always reliable. Sometimes they'd forget to mention a sponsor, or they might talk about a brand as a joke. Also, there was no way to know if these ads actually led to sales. Most businesses didn't keep track of where their customers came from, so there was no way to tell if a friend told them about their product or if they saw a plug in a play. Even though these methods seem kind of silly today, they were extremely successful. They helped spread the word about new products and services, which led to more sales and more profits. It also gave regular people a way to earn money by showing off their skills. But these days, people don't see wall paintings or theater productions, so advertisers had to get creative. The first printed advertisement appeared in 1477. It was hung in a public space in Venice and announced a set of newly published prayers. The ad was an instant success, and within decades, similar flyers started popping up across Europe. The first person to make a fortune from advertising was Johannes Gutenberg. He created the first printing press, which allowed him to mass print books, pamphlets, and of course, ads. In the 1600s, newspapers began appearing in major cities. At first, they were mostly political, but soon they started accepting ads. The first classified ad was placed in the Boston Newsletter in 1704. It simply read, 5 shillings reward, lost a black silk handkerchief. From there, advertising exploded. The Industrial Revolution brought a wave of new products and a need for promotion. Advertisers began targeting specific groups of people and trying out new ad pitches. And while ads haven't changed that much since the 1800s, they have become a lot more sneaky. Today, companies try to influence our buying habits in ways we don't even realize. They put ads on our TV screens while we're watching our favorite shows. It's on our phone apps while we're scrolling through social media. And even on our gaming consoles while we're trying to beat a level. There are ads everywhere. So next time you hear a jingle or see a logo, remember, someone spent a lot of time and money trying to convince you to buy whatever they're selling. Want to learn about another groundbreaking invention? Watch this video or explore more of human ingenuity with this playlist. And don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week.